Hey guys, this is Mir from Obesium, and in today's video, we are not going to review any kind of smartphone or a gadget, but this video is completely educational video where you would be learning certain skills to boost your business. Today in this video, we'll be introducing before you Mr. Rishi Ganguly, who is the king of email marketing. Welcome sir.
Hey, thanks for inviting me here.
So today we'll be discussing few questions for which we need you to answer them very smartly and how you are dealing with it for past few years.
Okay.
So the first question is, can you run me through your journey, like the overall timeline, like how you started, where you started, when you started, and what you are doing today?
Sure. So basically, I never went to college.
Okay.
I hated studies. That's that's as far as back as I want to go. I remember telling mom I don't want to study, so she said, "Okay, fine, but what do you want to do?" I said, "I don't know." So I started doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I used to sell stuff door to door, and people would slam the door, and I would get my ego completely smashed because it's like all kinds of interesting people you find when you go door to door sales. And then somebody told me that you should sell these things to Rhythm House. At that time, it was a music shop. Now I think they're shut down.
Yeah.
So we used to sell those boxes, and that began to get me started with some ideas. But at the same time, I was also technically inclined. And one of my friends was doing video recording and video shooting and video repairing. You know, those days there was days of VCR,
Right.
like 92, 91.
The big cassettes.
Yes,
Black ones.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I went and did this little technical course. There was a small diploma here at university side.
Okay.
And I did not learn the engineering of how circuits are designed and resistors and chips and transistors. But I understood the practical aspect, like how to solder a part,
Okay.
what is a PCB, those kind of concepts became clear as to what's inside one of these technical gadgets. So it was very interesting, but I couldn't see myself as I couldn't go to dad and say, "Dad, get me a garage and I'll start VCR repairing and TV." I just didn't want to be that guy. So my father like, "What do you want to do then?" At that time, my elder brother was finishing computer engineering.
Okay.
And he told dad, "We need a computer at home now for doing some project work." This is way back in 92, 93. And we had a 286 computer got home.
Okay.
And I was never interested in games. I was more interested in how does this computer work?
Okay.
And what is this computer operating system all about? So I was just, I would go to the computer bookstore, just pick up these books
Okay.
and learn about computers. I was just totally engrossed. I don't know what drove me. I'd be like 2, 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
I would get my dad's accounting from books, which he used to do. Those days there was no Talios.
Yeah, right.
So I got it from there to a software called Lotus 123, which was like Excel,
Right.
but it was a black and white DOS computer. There was no Windows. We actually bought a mouse later on to run Windows on black and white screens. But that's how my computer journey started.
Okay.
And I decided to just take up something on computers. And there was a course that was available, computer hardware course,
Okay.
available for 3 months theory and 3 months practical in a company.
Okay.
And they taught us nothing.
Like internship.
Not, kind of a, I mean, you learn the theory in classroom, and then we'll send you to some company and make you a computer technician. So I don't even know where that company is or what it was called, I forgot. But I went and did that 3 months course where they taught me nothing. And then I joined this company and says, "Look, we'll pay you $1,000 and you want to do this job, otherwise there's the door, you can leave." I said, "Screw the $1,000, just let me work and let me learn. I have no education qualifications, no background. Networking was just entering, so I learned how networking is done from the technical point of view, not from the engineering design point of view." And then, I worked there for a couple of years, got very comfortable with talking to people, going to customers and stuff like that. One of the companies that one of the customers I was going to, offered me a full-time job in their company as a IT engineer to fix their problems, rather than call me every now and then. Just work out of this office. So that's what I did. I started working for this company, and my boss was a great guy. He still is a great guy. I worked for him for about maybe 6 years before he said, "Rishi, I think you should start your own company I said, but I'm a IT manager of your company now. We have a team of 3-4 people. What company are you talking about? He says, no, you will not grow otherwise. So suddenly I was pushed into, we created a separate company, the Argon company. In 2001, this was, I suddenly became from managing technical stuff. Now I had to manage people. And boy, that was a completely different challenge, you can really pull your hair frustrated with people. And my boss used to tell me, you got to work with people. You cannot just tell them what to do. You got to inspire them to work.
You have to carry them.
Yeah. And I was like, shit, I didn't sign up for this, man. That's when I realized that it's quite a tough job to manage people. Managing computers is a lot easier. So I worked in, we started this company for about 6 years. I was there, and I got somebody referred me to a job opening at Apple as a system engineer. And I was getting more money, and I said to my boss, look, I'm just going to go there. So I exited, but I was still in touch with him. I worked in Apple for about 3 years, and that's when I saw the scale of operations were totally different. In 2009, I exited. I became an Apple certified trainer. So the next thing that came up was, okay, what do we do? And I met a wonderful friend. Now we're partners together. His name is Dharmendra Rai. And he says, Rishi, you've taught me how to use this WordPress and how to make a website. I'm organizing these seminars. Why don't you do an introductory seminar about how easy it is to make it on WordPress? And then you can do coaching for them, one-to-one coaching, or maybe do a workshop for them or something like that, if there are more than one student signing up. And interestingly enough, I did the first presentation and 5 people signed on the spot. And I was like, wow, I didn't realize there would be such kind of an interest for that. So then I had to actually sit down and, shit, I better make a program now. Normally I would just teach people based on what they asked me, and that's still what I do. But then I had to formulate a program. So it took me about 2 to 3 years to come up with a really great one-day workshop. And we in fact just recently launched a program where we can teach you how to make your website in 1 hour.
In 1 hour?
In just 1 hour, you can have a website up and running. Okay, it's a free seminar. People come and attend it. And by the end of 1 hour, they would have actually created their own website. While we were promoting these programs, we actually used email marketing as a means to communicate with prospective clients to say, come and attend our seminar, and then after that we'll give you some paid services if you want, optionally. For email marketing, we started learning a lot of things that we should do, and more importantly, what we should not do in email marketing. We teach people the techniques, the do-it-yourself model, the ebook is there. Some people, they don't have the time. They say, Rishi, great seminar, nice stuff, you told us everything about it, but we actually would like you to get it done. So we have a team. They help a company do their email marketing. So 1 or 2 emails a month. Instead of training your own internal team, you can just outsource it to us, and we'll be able to do the sending of the mail blast in a nice way. More professional way, without getting blocked, spam, unsubscribe, all of that stuff we make sure is done. On a side note, I do like to talk to people about Bitcoin, but that's my personal hobby, passion. I'm more interested in educating people about what Bitcoin is and why people should learn more about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. It's a new global economy that's out there and for us to take. But roughly this is my journey so far.
Okay, so the next question would be, what got you interested in this sector?
Actually, that's an interesting question because I kind of stumbled on it more than had a plan. Okay. I don't think I said I want to become a website coach. It was never like that. Somebody said, why don't you teach people how to do website? Kare kya? Theek hai, karte hai. And that's how I got into it. And then one thing led to the next. And before you know it, I'm like, shit, I'm a website coach, man.
You didn't plan for it.
Not at all.
Just happened.
It just happened. I had no idea where I wanted to go. I had ideas of lots of things, but this one just seemed to pick up. Thanks to Dharmendra Rai, my partner of Trainers Expo. He's the marketing head. I do the technical stuff.
So the next question is quite interesting. So I would like to ask you, how easy or difficult is it to build a website?
So the title of my talk is making a website is easier and cheaper than you think.
Right.
So I think the title of my seminar should respond to that question. But definitely, somebody came to my seminar and asked me, Rishi, I use an iPad. Can I do a website? Can I learn how to do a website? I said, no. You do need a computer, whether it's a desktop or laptop.
Right.
You need a mouse. You need to have a computer to do the website at this point.
Okay.
Maybe 1 year down the line, you guys come back and do an interview. I'll say, you know what, you can do it on an iPhone, yeah. So if you know Gmail or if you know how to use Facebook, that's the amount of tech skills you need to build your website. You don't need more than that amount of tech skills. If you do posts on Facebook, कोई एक photograph लगा दिया, बस उतना tech skills है, that's enough to do a website also on WordPress.
The next question is about marketing. So since you are from the marketing background, so I want to ask you that what are the skill sets that are needed to become a good digital marketer?
You know, digital marketing is a lot of things, right? Just to name a few, as you mentioned, email marketing is one form of digital marketing, right? You have Google AdWords, Facebook AdWords. These are another form of digital marketing, right? And you also have Google search engine optimization. That's a form of digital marketing, right? Because when you search for stuff on the internet, if it automatically your website comes at the top, that is a result of good marketing, good digital marketing. For example, I don't say email marketing is the one and only tool. It is one of the digital marketing tools. It may work for you, it may not work for you, depending on what business you're in, what products or what services you're selling to your audience. Email may or may not be the ideal digital marketing tool. So in terms of skill sets, knowing how to get people to opt in through a website or through an advertisement. That means people should opt in to whatever it is you're talking about. That, learn it on various tools. Those are skill sets. When it comes to SEO, you want to make sure that either you have the expertise, there's a lot of courses out there. So learn about SEO, how to become a good SEO expert. Knowing how to target your audience. What are the criteria? That will help you to get the best results for the amount of money you put in.
So the next question is about email marketing. So when we talk about email marketing, so how beneficial it is for any kind of business, like maybe a small business or a medium scale business or a large scale business? Like just if you could give us a gist of the applications of email marketing.
Well, like say for example in my case, I do a lot of free seminars. The title of my topics, currently I have 3, right? First one is email marketing. So my topic is boost your business with email marketing, right? Making your website is easier and cheaper than you think. I've just introduced the latest one, which is create your website in just 1 hour. So these are some of the titles of my talks. Now these talks I do as a way to engage with interested parties. So typically I would send an email asking if they would be interested in attending these topics. So the ones who reply, then I have a standardized reply with how they can learn about this next event and where to register and then come for the program. So this is how I use email marketing as a foot in the door strategy.
So as we are moving towards the end of the discussion, there are only 2 to 3 questions left. So now I would like to target the main question, that what do you think marketing sector or the strategies would look like in next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah. So that's an interesting question because quite frankly, I have no idea what's going to happen in the next 2 years. Technologies change so quickly, and most technologies today that are coming in are very disruptive. So, you know, I don't know whether you heard of what happened to Kodak and so many other stories that, you know, people, if they don't change with the times, you know, you'll be left behind. So I can't be singing the email marketing song and carrying the email marketing flag for the rest of my life, obviously. But what's going to happen in the next 5 or 10 years, I have no idea. I'm telling you, I don't know what's going to happen in the next 2 years. In the next 6 months, something new technology comes out there and surprises us all. Like, wow, we had no idea we could do something like this, and some smart guys came up with the technique. Scrap all the old methods, let's do that method.
So since you have made me familiar with the seminars which you deliver in various places, So what are the frequently asked questions which you get from the audience in those seminars? Like the ones which you think, अरे यार ये तो हमेशा से ही पूछते आ रहे हैं. So this is the one question which you would always have to answer in every seminar.
Well, for example, in the website making seminar, they would come and ask me, will I be able to do it? They're basically unsure if it's actually that easy, because once they see my seminar, they see like this is like super easy. But that's one of the big questions that come. This is one of the big questions that come up to me for websites. For email marketing, typically the question is always, I am in this business, will it work for me? I'm in such and such services, will it work for me? Can we discuss, can I get some time from you so that I can talk about my business? And so usually my email marketing seminar ends with a note of, here's the ebook, all what I've spoken about, all the detailed instructions are there. This would be the broad question that comes up in the email marketing seminars.
So the final question for today is, what sort of advice you would like to give to the startups like us about email marketing or the usual marketing strategies?
So, again, as I said, digital marketing is the core, and not core, it's the big mothership, if you want to call it, and these are all the satellite options, right? Email marketing is one of the tools. Facebook, Google advertising is another tool. SEO is another tool. These are all various digital marketing tools and strategies. All of them come at a different cost, price, skill sets, right? Expertise. One has to learn these techniques. It depends, really. As I said, there's no blanket answer. In your case, what I would do is I would like to understand more in depth. I know you guys have a YouTube channel and you'll have a website to promote products and do product reviews and stuff like that. But I would need to understand more about that. Maybe I'm thinking SEO is something more for you guys to look at. I don't have any specific answer for your organization, what you guys should do for a startup or any startup for that matter. I need to get into a discussion.
The whole background and how it works and all, that would help you answer the question better.
Yes. I never tell people this is what you should do.
So that was our quick conversation, maybe not quick. So this was Rishi Ganguly, and I hope this video was helpful for you. So if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel and stay tuned for more videos.